So a biconditional, it is a single true statement, okay, that has to have a true conditional and a true converse. So remember yesterday we said if a figure is a if a figure is a square, then it's a quadrilateral, right? When we reversed that, the converse of it, if it's a square, then it's a quadrilateral. That wasn't true, right? If that happens, that is not true. You cannot write what's called a biconditional. But if the first one is true, like, what's a good one? If an angle is acute, then it's between 0 and 90 degrees, right? If I rearrange that, if an angle is between 0 and 90, then it's acute. Both of those are true, okay? So when they're both true like that, we can write what's called a biconditional. What we do is we write it with the phrase, if and only if, okay? But you don't have to write if and only if every time. What you can write instead is IFF, okay? So if you see IFF, it means if and only if, meaning the conditional is true and the converse of that conditional is also true, okay? So please don't feel like you have to write if and only if every time. IFF is great. So look at this first problem. It says, what is the converse and can you write a biconditional? So the first thing you have to check is truth value. Look at this statement. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 180, then the two angles are supplementary. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes, that is true. Okay, so we've met the first requirement. Your conditional must be true. Now we check the converse. What would the converse of that statement be? If what?
If two angles are supplementary, then their measurement is 180.
Yeah, if two angles are supplementary, then their measure is 180. Okay, is that true?
Yes.
That is true. So here's the thing. When both are true, the conditional and the converse, rather than write a conditional and a converse, we can write one statement. It takes out the if, it takes out the then, and it puts in an if and only if. Okay, so let me show you up here. We're gonna get rid of this, go here, get rid of this, put in an if and only if, and then write this, okay? So it's gonna say, the biconditional says the sum of the measures of two angles is 180 if and only if they are supplementary. Does that make sense? So take out the if and then. We don't have if and then anymore. And in place of then, you just put if and only if. Now, because the statement's true both ways, you could take the converse, take out the if, take out the then, put in the if and only if, and it's still true, okay? So I don't care if you do it from the conditional or from the converse because they are both true. I prefer the conditional, just because then we're consistent, but it really doesn't matter. They're both true, okay? The way we write this in terms of if P then Q, remember we did if P then Q, the way we write it is like this now. So you will have a P with the arrow going both ways, and then your Q. So you would say P if and only if Q. Okay, so if you see that in like the shorthand version, that's what they're looking at. Okay. Okay, sometimes they'll ask you to flip that. They'll ask you to write it the opposite way, where they give you the biconditional and you have to come up with the two conditional statements, the original conditional and its converse. So let's look at this example too. It says, write the conditional and its converse. A ray is an angle bisector if and only if it divides an angle into two congruent angles. Okay, now here's the thing, guys. I know writing is not the best. I mean, you maybe like to write. I don't like to write. it bugs me that I have to write words in my math class, but I like the words. Like, I like what it's saying. I just hate writing. Like, I just don't want to do it. I want to write numbers. Because you have your book as a PDF, I don't care if you do the little like box thing in Notability and drop that in without the if and the then. You write in IFF and then drop in the other portion so you don't have to write it all out. I'm totally fine with that because that shows me that you understand the process, right? I'm all about shortcuts when it comes to writing. Don't tell your English teachers. They're my friends. They'll get mad at me. But moving forward. So for this, you would say an array is an angle bisector if and only if it divides an angle into two congruent angles. What is one conditional statement that you can write from that? Go ahead, Sebastian.
If array is an angle bisector, then sorry. That was the one above it is the biconditional, so I have to write it in the normal. I have to flip
Yes, you're doing it right.
Okay.
So if array is an
If
angle
array
bisector,
has an angle bisector, then then it divides an angle into two congruent angles.
mm-hmm.
So you just add if and then change the IFF to then, basically.
You put an if out in front, and then this chunk, put a then where if and only if was, and then that chunk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the conditional. What's the converse of that conditional? Now here's where you have to be a little bit careful. It's tempting right now to say if it divides an angle into two congruent angles, but what is it?
Bisector. The line.
The ray, right? It's right here. Usually the subject is at the beginning of the conditional. Keep that at the beginning of your converse as well. So if array divides an angle into two congruent angles, then it's an angle bisector. Okay, so we just flipped them. Just leave your if then, but flip your hypothesis and conclusion. Any questions on that? Okay, then we get into definitions. And I know this sounds like English class. It's really not. It's all about being logical and reasonable. We're going to determine what makes something a good definition, and then we're going to determine if different things are good definitions or not, to be able to use mathematically. So, first of all, if something's a good definition, it is going to use clearly understood terms. Okay? Here's my example for you. If I said, can someone please bring me that dingle hopper? Do you know what you're bringing me?
Fork.
It's my girl. It's a fork, but most of you probably didn't know that, right? How did you know that? Ariel. It's the Little Mermaid. So if I said, bring me that Snorfplat, what are you bringing me?
I don't know that.
No, it was a pipe, right? It was his like instrument. He blew into the Snorfplat and all this like seaweed came out. Snorfplat and dinglehopper, not clearly understood terms, right? Most people don't know those. So when you're trying to define something, don't use things like that. It doesn't work, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing is be precise. Don't use things like large, because what is large to an ant is probably pretty small to you, right? So don't use relative terms, large or sort of or almost, okay? We want more exact terms, be very precise in your terminology. And then the third thing is something is a good definition if it's reversible. In other words, if you can write a biconditional from it, it's a good definition, okay? So we're going to look at this and determine if this is a good definition. So let's say the definition is a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides, okay? Okay. You need to check, could I write a conditional and a converse and both would be true? Okay, so my conditional would be, now this is a little bit tricky. You got to think about what makes more sense here. We wouldn't say if a quadrilateral is a polygon, because a quadrilateral is always a polygon. We would say if a polygon is a quadrilateral, then it has 4 sides. That's true. Okay. Then we say, okay, flip that around. If a polygon has 4 sides, then it's a quadrilateral. True. If both are true, it's a good definition, right? We're going to write a biconditional from that. So how would you turn this into a biconditional? It's a little bit tricky with that. What do you call your subject here? We would say a what? A quadrilateral or a polygon? A polygon. We would say a polygon is a quadrilateral. What comes next? IFF. If and only if it has 4 sides. Okay, so you check the conditional and its converse. If both are true, you write the biconditional, and that is a good definition then. Okay, so let's check. Are these good definitions? And then we're done. A fish is an animal that swims. Is that a good definition? No? Can you give me a counterexample?
Shark.
A shark. A whale. Okay. It's not reversible, right? We need it to be reversible if it's going to be a good reservable. Nope, reversible. In other words, if I say, if an animal is a fish, then it swims. If an animal swims, then it is a fish. Those don't both work, right? So if it's not reversible, not a good definition. Okay, 2. Rectangles have 4 corners. Is that a good definition?
No.
Why not?
Square. Rhombus.
Yeah, a square, a rhombus. Square is a rectangle, so that's not a great counterexample. But we would say this is not a good definition. This 4 corners, that's very vague, right? What is a corner? Is this a corner? Right? Because then, yeah, that's not a rectangle, but it's got 4 corners. So we would just say 4 corners, this is not well defined, not specific enough, I guess you could say. Precise, maybe.
Well, that would work as 4 rectangles.
Yes, that is the definition of a rectangle. Okay, number 3. Giraffes are animals with very long necks. Good definition?
Yeah. I can't.
If an animal is a giraffe, then it has a long neck. Is that true? If an animal has a long neck, then it's a giraffe.
No.
What's a counterexample?
I can't think of
How about an ostrich? I'd say they have long necks. The reason it's not great, this long necks, what's long, right? That's relative. So not precise would be that. Okay, number 4. A penny is a coin worth 1 cent. If a coin is a penny, then it's worth 1 cent. If a coin is worth 1 cent, then it's a penny.
That's true.
That is a good definition.
I can think of like different currency that translates to that, or when.
But we're not talking converting currency, right? We're saying if we have a coin that's worth 1 cent, it's going to be a penny for us, right? Other countries don't know 1 cent. Like the conversion rate isn't always the same. So it's what our 1 cent is not always their 1 cent type of thing, right? So we would say this is a good definition. But yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, or like there's like tons of different kinds of currencies.
Yeah.
So it like doesn't change.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on that? Okay.